Well, good morning. My name is Willie Lawson. This is fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Trust you are well on this glorious day. Uh, you know, I'll just read the headline. A trans runner beats thousands of women in London Marathon after running in the New York City Marathon as a dude. Okay. So here's and I really want to make sure that people get this. This is one of the reasons why people don't believe this is actually happening. Now, for those people who are suffering with gender dysphoria, really, and we've talked about this on this program before, if you're suffering with gender dysphoria, if you wake up and you know, if you look down on your lap and you know, and then your head doesn't match up, your spirit doesn't match up, then that must be horrific. And you must be really angry about these kinds of people. These kinds of people. This dude um, says this: London is the best. A 52-year-old runner said of their 17th marathon, which last year included Tokyo, Chicago, and will include all six majors, including Berlin and then Boston. Girl power, Frank said of their marathon efforts while flexing her bulging biceps above rainbow colored armbands. Okay. The runner, whose social media still shows photos of him running in earlier races, and we're going to show those photos here, as a balding man, ended the mid-race chat to gush about how her beautiful son is expecting a baby. So I'm going to be a Granny G, Frank said before running off, draped in a blue, pink, and white transgender flag. Former Olympic marathoner Mara uh, Yamauchi, that's the name, said on Twitter that last month that Glenn Eek ran a race in Japan as Glenn. Since March 31st, at the World Athletics and at Brit Athletics have banned post-puberty males from the female category. Under UKA transitional arrangements, males who had already entered the races in the F category, female category, could still race. I assume this is how Frank was allowed to race. Nevertheless, males in the female category is unfair for females, she wrote. Yeah, we knew that. We knew that. Last month, we reported that the World Athletics determined that transgender athletes could no longer compete in women's events in order to preserve fairness and integrity in women's sports. The previous policy required the transgender athletes to maintain their testosterone levels below a certain amount. In regard to transgender athletes, the council has agreed to exclude male to female transgender athletes who have been through male puberty from female world ranking competition from March 31st, 2023. A press release from the organization said, in these circumstances, the council decided to prioritize fairness and the integrity of the female competition before inclusion. Really? And multiple polls in recent months have shown the majority of Americans support policies that will require transgender athletes to compete on terms that align with their biological sex rather than their gender identity. Or their, again, not everybody, where I just mentioned that. But some people, we don't believe you. We just don't believe you. William Thomas, we don't believe you. Fallon Fox, we don't believe you. We don't believe you. In June, there was a poll conducted by the Washington Post and the University of Maryland found that a majority of Americans, some 55%, believe that separating sports by biological sex A separate poll published by Pew Research found that 58% of Americans favor requirements for transgender athletes to compete on sports teams that align with their biological sex. Most people at this point say, if you're born a dude, then you need to compete with dudes. If you're born a chick, you probably need to compete with chicks. And another recent poll conducted by the Summit Ministries and McLaughlin and Associates showed that a majority of Americans believe that transgender athletes are harming women's sports. In the findings, 60% of respondents said that the Biden administration's recent Title IX changes that allow sex to include gender identity and allow transgender athletes to compete against women has had a harmful impact to women's sports and biological female athletes. All you have to do is look at William Thomas and Riley Gaines. They tie. Ties don't happen that often. But the NCAA, the official there, decided to give the trophy. It's a tie. But you know what? William, here's the trophy. And when Riley asked, okay, we tied. I get that. But why does he get the trophy? Not that she needed the trophy. She's a 14-time All-American. She didn't need another trophy. But what was she asked what the mental process was, why does William get the trophy? And she was basically told because it looks better that way. This is why we don't believe you. And it's a shame because I'm sure, like I'm sitting here, there are people who are suffering. While some of these people get to perpetrate this fraud. And it's too bad. And if you have daughters who are involved in sports, and that's going to be, part of their ticket to getting to the next level of education, or may even want to participate at the professional level, it's about time that we started including fairness and integrity over this fake inclusion. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.